Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Best in Slot and I am really excited to talk to you for the first time today about Forgotten Bloodlines Agate. This is a upcoming photorealistic Miocene paleo-documentary voiced by Nigel Marven, fantastic stuff, directed by Max Bellomio, hopefully I've pronounced that correctly, Bellomio, who you may know as Digital Duck. There's a Kickstarter starting in February. I'm going to link that down below. You can jot in your email and they'll alert you when it launches. Maybe you'll get some goodies for doing so. And it's going to launch with 3 15-minute episodes. This isn't produced by like some huge production company or anything. These are fans, these are paleo people, paleo modelers, animators, etc. creating a project for something they love and wanted to see more representation of, and which is a fantastic idea and a really, really cool thing to see. I've been meaning to talk about this for a little while now, to try to support them a little bit and support the trailer, etc. But it's kind of popped off since then, so I'm not sure I'm going to do much good, but I really want to talk about it anyway. I'm not going to show you this in its entirety. What we're going to see today is the first scene of the documentary. I'm going to link that down below. Go check it out on their website. Go check it out on their YouTube channel. Give them some love, give them some support, throw them a like and stuff like that. If you want to see it without me prattling on over the top every now and again, that's the place to do it. We're going to be pausing again in just a minute, it must be said. But then I'll shut up a little bit more. Not much more, but a little bit more.
This is Agate Springs, 20 million years ago, the beginning of the Miocene epoch.
So we're in the Agate Fossil Beds in Nebraska. Contains a huge number of Miocene fossils. The Miocene itself is an epoch from 23 to 5 million years ago-ish. I've rounded it a little bit there. And this was actually a really interesting epoch. This is when apes would start to first evolve. This is when a lot of other animals you'd recognise as having modern equivalents would really start to evolve and come about as well. A lot of our modern mammals in particular, you're going to see sort of their beginnings here in the Miocene, or they would resemble them quite strongly. And this time in particular provided, and this area provided, some of the best ever Miocene fossils, because a lot of them died very quickly in flash floods and severe drought. And the flash floods in particular would have hidden their bodies away from carrion eaters, from carcass eaters, from scavengers, and therefore the bones got preserved. So a huge swathe of fantastic fossils and a huge swathe of really fascinating life lived here in what we're about to see in this documentary.
This savanna will one day become the Badlands of Nebraska. Not long ago, these plains were lush and heavily forested, nurtured by volcanic ash spread by wind and rain. But as the global climate begins to shift, conditions are becoming increasingly arid. This brings hardship for the native fauna. It's now the peak of the dry season, and a small group of stenomylus gather around what remains of a rapidly shrinking watering hole.
Right, so can I just point out, by the way, how fantastic this documentary looks. There's going to be a couple of shots here and there that I would say don't quite reach photorealism. Bear in mind, of course, the documentary is not out yet. It's going to not be out for a little while. I don't know what the prospective release date is, but the fact is even the Kickstarter's not started yet. There's clearly an immense amount of love and work in this already. This shot, though, looks fantastic. This here is our stenomylus. It's a very, very small camelid. Camel, basically. 2 feet tall only, itty bitty, one of the smallest, if not the smallest that ever was. And interestingly enough, it's sort of halfway between a camel and a gazelle. It's definitely a camelid, but you can see a lot of sort of gazelle or modern deer sort of characteristics. Even seemingly had hooves, as you can see down here. You can see these sort of hooves here, like a antelope would or like a deer would, compared to a camel, which instead has sort of fleshy, soft pads instead.
Despite appearing similar to antelope,
this would be one of the scenes I think doesn't quite hit photorealism. I don't want to be negative at all. I really just want to hype this thing up because I think it's phenomenal. But you can see there's something about it that feels a little video gamey. I'm not sure quite what it is in the lighting or the tree texture or something, but there's still work to be done. I don't know if they're still planning to work on these scenes, but you know, considering this is, I don't want to say fan-made because that doesn't really make sense, but it's the equivalent of fan-made, right? It's phenomenal.
The lanky herbivores are actually an early form of camel. These relict puddles provide a lifeline for all manner of animals.
So as I said a little bit earlier on, a lot of what we see now as modern animals would have been developing and come to fruition during the Miocene epoch. indistinguishable almost from what you would consider a modern bird. So they've been around for a long time, and they developed, you know, really well in this period.
This also makes them an ideal hunting ground for predators. Daeodon, one of the few animals that benefits from the harsh conditions of the dry spell. This individual is a young male, only having recently left the care of his mother, but he's already a formidable hunter.
Let's stop him on that. He looks phenomenal. Again, there's a scene here or there where it loses it a little bit, but one thing I like in you, especially want you to notice this in a second, where I'm going to let this play out a little bit longer without me prattling on over the top, is that much in the way that Prehistoric Planet did, this has been filmed and rendered to look in the same way a modern nature documentary would, in that, you know, it's got camera tricks in there. It feels like the camera's actually being held by a person or a crane or whatever. A crane? You know, the camera's actually being utilised. You can see the depth of field here, which looks really fantastic. We've got that foreground foliage, which really gives it that photorealistic quality. Daeodon here is an entelodont, which is an extinct family of pig-like ungulates. And they definitely have similarities with pigs. The diet, for example, the dentiture. But recent research suggests that they're more closely related to hippos and cetaceans. Cetaceans is, you know, your dolphins and whales and stuff like that. On screen, this is Daeodon shoshonensis, the type species, and only verified species. There is another one, humerosum, which is still up for debate a little bit. It could just be gender dimorphism or a mutation or something. So this is shoshonensis. Not a humongous animal, it must be said. 6 feet, something like that, if I remember correctly. Looks fantastic. Look at that musculature moving under the skin.
Weakened from the heat and focused on water, the Stenomylus should be easy prey. If he can catch one, that is.
Look at the running animation for the Daeodon. You can see how animals developed to be better hunters than this in the future. Because boy, that is an awkward running animation for them.
But it seems even a weakened camel can outrun a Daeodon in a straight chase. Only 1 out of every 10 hunts is likely to be successful. His hunger will drive him to try again, and an animal of his size must feed soon.
There you go, Forgotten Bloodlines Agate, or Agate, if you're that way inclined. I'm an Agate guy. I think I'm an Agate guy. I did Google it to make sure what kind of guy I was. Yeah, so I mean, the Daeodon run, you can see as well the contrast between how the Daeodon runs, which is awkward compared to a lot of modern animals, a lot of modern mammals, and how the Stenomylus runs, which is much more indicative of how a modern gazelle more than anything would travel. And, you know, that's obviously going to help the Stenomylus, really, you'd imagine. Daeodon was, of course, very successful at the time, but went extinct not too long after this, really. Yeah, so anyways, I'm going to show you the credits in a second, because everyone who worked on this deserves lots of love, because it is phenomenal work. But let me know what you think about it in the comment section down below. If you want to see it in its entirety, without me prattling on, please, please, please go check the link in the description down below and give them some love, because they really deserve it. 99% of it photorealistic. It's a Miocene documentary, which have we ever had before? I don't know. Did Walking with Beasts? Walking with Beasts must have crossed into the Miocene, but it's been a long time. We're in a golden age once again for paleo-documentaries. It's really exciting, and this is definitely going to be part of it. Yeah, it's only 3 50-minute episodes, of course, because it's made by a handful of people compared to these big budget documentaries, but it's a labour of love, and I hope it goes really, really well for them. It looks fantastic, and it's such an exciting time to examine as well. Loads of really interesting animals. It's about time we got some mammalian love, you know? So yeah, check out the Kickstarter. I'm going to link that down below in the description, as it happens. Directed by Max, narrated by Nigel. Fantastic. The score as well. Sarah Clark, the score is really, really nice. I like that Max has made their name it's just a little bit bigger. As it should be. There you go, some writing storyboards. We've got some animation and modelling there. So proud of you, Cam, just so you know. Just from now, I don't know anyone else really. I know a couple of people. Concept art, additional filming, and sound mixing and Foley. Rendering provided by Rox Fenderfarm. Thanks there, created using Blender. Created using Blender, ladies and gentlemen. Blender. A free-to-download program. Can I point that out there? People are like, oh, well, I'm limited, yada, yada. You're not limited. Download Blender. Go make a documentary. You look at the total number of people involved in that. It's not that many. It's really not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the animation and modelling. You know, it's and that's most of the work here. So you throw in a couple more for this. We're talking maybe 15 people in total, if not a little bit less. It's phenomenal work. Can't wait to see the whole thing. There will be a new trailer when the Kickstarter launches. I'll be bringing you that here on the channel as well. Please do go check out the Kickstarter. Please do go check out the original video. Give them tons of love. And yeah, really excited about the future of paleo docs. We've got like 4 big paleo, if you include this, 4 big paleo documentaries that we know of, as far as I remember. It's quite a lot. Cool. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you all have a lovely weekend. Throw me a like down below if you enjoyed the video as well. That'd be cool. Cheers, much love. As always, bye-bye.
Reaching out.